Now, after the arrival of the tornado, you thought she was going to be noisy, didn't you? Oh, I hope she's not going. That looks like a goodbye wave. No, I don't think so. But she can tiptoe up on us when she needs to. She just goes gently idling by. That's why we're seeing those trails of smoke of unburned fuel at the back. She's flown today by Martin Withers, and alongside him, Flight Lieutenant Bill Ramsey, who's a reservist officer in the RAF, and the third man of the crew is the air electronics officer at the back, Barry Macefield. Now, Martin Withers, that name may be familiar to you. He is the man who flew a Vulcan down to the Falkland Islands 30 years ago this year, carrying a load of 21 1,000-pound bombs, which they dropped on the runway at Port Stanley. And they hit it with two, which was par for the course for those World War II style bombs, no smart bombs in those days. And they effectively changed the course of the Falklands War. So that's the man flying today for us. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for that, and his crew was mentioned in dispatches. So, Vulcan, she is the people's aeroplane. She's probably the most popular aeroplane in the country. Everybody just loves her. And the reason I say she's the people's aeroplane is because you, the great British people, have largely contributed to her being here today. More about the money in a moment. Here she comes back in front of us, and there you get that amazing shape designed by Roy Chadwick. And the bomb doors are opening as she goes by. You see the size of that bomb bay that carried those 21 1,000-pound bombs. That's about 10 tons of bombs, and the aeroplane carried those bombs on what was then the longest bombing raid in history, more than 7,000 miles. That's roughly the same as from here to Santiago in Chile. And it required the services of no less than 11 air refueling tankers to get them there and back again. The last one, they very nearly didn't make the meeting place. And one of the people who was flying in that Vulcan, the air refueling expert, said at the time he had never seen a Vulcan flying with so little fuel. So that was how very dramatic that whole thing was, as shown in an excellent Channel 4 programme called The Falklands Most Daring Raid. Now you see as she comes toward you how slim she is. She is actually rather like a stealth aeroplane, but long before stealth was invented. There the bomb bay doors are closing as she passes in front of us. And probably what you may have been waiting for is about to happen. Martin is, I think, going to open the throttles on the four Rolls-Royce Bristol Olympuses, 16,400 pounds of static thrust from each of them. However, we may not be able to use full power because the cloud base is so low. Because she's so light nowadays, she's 10 tons lighter than she used to be in RAF service because they've taken all the big bombing radar out of it. If you put full power on, she kind of skips away and you can get rather too high too quickly. And with the cloud base like it is today, I rather imagine that Martin is having to be quite careful with his use of the throttles. So this particular aeroplane was the last Vulcan in RAF service. It was the display flight Vulcan, and it left the RAF service in 1993. And everybody at that time thought, we're never going to see another Vulcan fly again. But a splendid man called David Walton bought this aeroplane and a whole lot of spares, and another splendid man called Dr. Rob Fleming decided that he was going to form what became the Vulcan to the Sky Trust. And with the expenditure of more than £10 million, that is where we are today. That's how much it's cost to get her to this stage. There's been enormous help from the aviation industry. AD Holdings, BAE Systems, EADS, Goodrich, Judd Power, Kearsley Airways, Meggitt's, Messier Doughty, Rolls-Royce and Serco. And here at Bournemouth, she's supported by Air Glide, Action Aviation. So without them, and thanks very much folks, she wouldn't be here today. Now at this stage in the proceedings, Martin should be conducting a spiral climb, but evidently he's not able to do that because of the low cloud base. So, the big elephant in the room throughout the whole years of this project. She first flew again in 2007 and she's been flying displays ever since. And that was despite the huge pessimism all round that it would never happen. Nobody thought she was going to last this long at all, so we're very lucky to have her with us. But it's costing £2 million a year still to keep her running, and that has to be raised. That means raising £38,500 a week. And that's what we have to do with the Vulcan to the Sky Trust. I'll talk a bit more about that in just a moment. But she does continue to need everybody's help. Now, as Martin comes back towards us, one thing I think we may miss today is the famous Vulcan howl, which is when you open the engines really fully, and you get this extraordinary howling sound. With well, we got a sort of howl there. It's a unique sound, something to do with the fact that you have two engines on each side and they have a common intake. And I don't think anybody quite knows exactly why it does happen, but it's unique to the Vulcan, and you can probably tell your grandchildren that you heard the Vulcan howl at Bournemouth. So she does continue to need everybody's help, does the Vulcan. So if you feel like going to visit the Vulcan village, which is down by Harry Ramsden's, by the Bournemouth pier, down to the right-hand end, by the huge deck chair, they'd love to see you. They're going to be open until 6 o'clock. So please do go down and see them. There's all sorts of things to buy there. There is an amazing raffle which is closing today, the first prize of which is a flight in a Spitfire alongside Vulcan. I mean, how good is that? And the second and third prizes are flights in the Blades aircraft alongside Vulcan. And the tickets are only £2 each. So that's something you can do at the Vulcan village. You can buy all sorts of clothing and mementos and models and goodness knows what else. And you can get hold of the Vulcan app. It's a Vulcan app for your smartphone, all sorts of things like that. Here she comes with her 18 wheels down, 16 wheels on the main undercarriage, 2 on the nose, as if she were going to land. I suspect not, or not even a light. But that's what she's like when she comes in to land. We'll see the undercarriage being raised in a moment and the power coming on as she does what's called a low overshoot. There goes the undercarriage. Power not coming on just yet, holding it down as she disappears into that pretty bad weather off to the left there. Now the question is he going to do another wing over and come back in front of us one more time, or is that it for the display for today, which has been slightly curtailed by that very bad weather that he's just heading into at the moment? I suspect that is it. That is the final